Hey, what's going on guys? Acer and John here, and today we're going to be going over the adaptive frame 140 RPM hand cannon, the Palindrome. But before we jump into this, I ask if you want to keep up to date on all Destiny 2 news, information, leaks, tutorials, and more, hey, go and subscribe to my channel. Otherwise, let's jump into it. Now I know, I should have made this video on Friday like I said I was going to do. Unfortunately, I had to push this back to Monday because I've been playing a lot of this game on screen now. Yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. By the way, let me know if you guys are interested in content on Outriders. But anyways, where do you get the Palindrome? Well, the Palindrome is a Nightfall exclusive weapon that's on a weekly rotation with the other two Nightfall exclusive weapons. And if you're not sure when it's going to be time to grind a Palindrome, just note that's going to be after the Shadow Price and before the Swarm. Also, another reason why I wasn't in a rush to get this video out is because this week's Grandmaster Nightfall, that being the Proving Grounds, was a pretty difficult strike. Fortunately, the good news is, by the time the Palindrome comes back, which I'm pretty sure should be April 20th, it should be available when the Grandmaster Nightfalls allow you to choose any Grandmaster Nightfall, meaning you'll be able to pick one of the easier strikes like the Devil's Lair or the Arms Dealer, and you'll be able to grind it out much faster. That is, if you're after an Adept version. One last thing to keep in mind before we jump into the Godrolls here is that the non-Adept version and the Adept version are pretty interchangeable. The only difference between an Adept and a non-Adept weapon is that Adept weapons get a bonus to certain stats when they get masterworked, and also Adept weapons get access to special Adept mods. If you're a PvE player, that's not really going to matter. However, in PvP, this does make the biggest difference. With that being said, let's first go ahead and jump into the PvE Godroll. And when it comes to the barrel perk here, I think you're going to want to aim for something that either increases the range by a lot or is just in general a very safe barrel perk. In general, barrel and magazine perks don't really matter too much in PvE. With that being said, I think my recommendation for the barrel perk is going to be something safe like Hammerforge rifling or corkscrew rifling. Then when it comes to the magazine perks, I'd probably recommend something like extended magazine or just appended magazine. I know some of these do decrease your reload by a lot, however, that's why we got reload perks. Again, like I said before, I wouldn't worry too much about the magazine or barrel perks. They're kind of subjective, and they don't really matter that much when it comes to PvE. So if you get a banger perk combination in your third and fourth perk slots, but your barrel and magazines are bad, I wouldn't really worry about it. Moving on to the third perk column, let's go ahead and talk about the best perks in this column. Now, I would like to note that there is a Bottomless Grief in this column. Bottomless Grief is not a very good perk right now, and actually starting in Season 14, Bottomless Grief is going to be an extra perk option built into Adept Nightfall weapons. So if you end up getting Bottomless Grief, I would end up scrapping it right away right now. With that being said, the first perk that I could recommend here is Overflow. Overflow makes it so when you pick up a special or heavy ammo brick, it reloads the weapon beyond normal capacity. Usually isn't my cup of tea, however, I think Overflow is actually a great perk for harder activities when it requires more bullets to kill things. Then the next perk I'd recommend in this column is Outlaw, which decreases your reload speed upon precision kills. And I'd say that's pretty much it for when it goes to PvE roles in this first slot here. Now moving on to the fourth perk slot. The first perk here I'd have to recommend is One for All. Hitting 3 separate targets increases the damage for a pretty sizable amount of time. It's technically right now the best damage perk in the entire game. However, I would be wary with One for All. This is a hand cannon. Hand cannons don't have a whole lot of bullets, so if you're going to use One for All on this hand cannon, I recommend pairing it with Overflow. And then the second best PvE perk I could recommend in this slot is Rampage. Now, when it comes to using Rampage, honestly, up to personal preference, whether you're going to use Overflow or Outlaw. Personally, I like to pair Outlaw with Rampage. It feels like a very snappy combination. And Outlaw Rampage is actually, just in general, really good for more casual content. However, if you want a sort of more deadly PvE weapon for that harder, like, Grandmaster level content, I think I'm going to have to recommend Overflow and One for All. So again, just to go over real quick to make it more simple, when it comes to PvE, barrel and magazine doesn't really matter that much. However, if you're going to worry about it, you're going to want to aim for range or just something safe in general for your barrel perk. For your magazine perk, you're going to want to aim for more ammo. Then for your perk combinations, you're going to want to either go with Overflow One for All for harder stuff and Outlaw Rampage for more casual stuff. With that being said, let's go over the PvP Godroll. Now, when it comes to the barrel perk, first up here, you're going to want to aim for range. With that being said, since you're going to want to be aiming for so much range, I think the barrel perk you're going to want to go with is full bore, because that is a barrel perk with the highest amount of range. However, if you can't get your hands on a full bore roll, definitely hammer forged rifling or small bore definitely will work. It's just full bore gives the absolute most out of the rest. Now, when it comes to the magazine perk, obviously again, you're going to want to go for range here. You got a lot of options. There's stuff like light mag, armor piercing rounds, ricochet rounds, and high caliber rounds. However, I think ricochet rounds are going to be the best because not only do you get that +5 to range, you also get a +10 to stability. Then when it comes to the third perk slot, I think the only one worth going for really is quick draw, at least when it comes to high-end PvP like trials where every single second matters. However, when it comes to more casual PvP like 6v6 game modes, I think Killing Wind is going to be a pretty decent perk, because moving on to our fourth perk column, I think Killing Wind actually goes nicely on this weapon with Rampage, because every time you get a kill, you're going to get increased mobility, weapon range, and handling, as well as a damage boost. However, when it comes to smaller, more high-end PvP, like Trials, for example, you're not going to really be able to proc stuff like Killing Wind plus Rampage all the time. So that's why when it comes to stuff like Trials, I think I'm going to have to recommend Quick Draw and Rangefinder. Again, when it comes to hand cannons, you're going to want to get as much range as you possibly can. So to make things simple, we're going to go over the Godrolls real quick for PvP again. For the barrel and magazines, you're aiming for range, so because of this, the best ones are going to probably be full bore and ricochet rounds. When it comes to 6v6, more casual PvP, Killing Wind and Rampage is probably going to be the best combination. However, when it comes to smaller modes and more high-end PvP like Trials of Osiris, you're going to want to go for Quick Draw and Rangefinder. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for the Palindrome Godroll. If you enjoyed, go ahead and give me a like. If you want to see more content like this, go ahead and subscribe. Also, let me know down in the comments down below what role you were able to get on your Palindrome. Anyways, this was John, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.